And yes, I'm going to ask.
At a town hall meeting in Dover, New Hampshire this afternoon, a supporter asked Barack Obama why he hadn't responded more forcefully to recent attacks from the McCain campaign.
So for those of us that have given you our support and more importantly our money, when and how are you going to start fighting back against attack ads and the smear campaigns?
Look, I just have a different philosophy, and that is that I'm going to respond with the truth. I'm going to respond with the truth. So I know there are a lot of Democrats and some independents and some Republicans who really want change, who start getting nervous because they've seen this movie before. Every 4 years, right? You have ads that are just fabricated. They're just made up. And lies, that's the word I was looking for. And so people start worrying. Here's what I can guarantee you, that we are going to be hitting back hard. We have been hitting back hard, but we're hitting back on the issues that matter to families. We're hitting back. You know, I'm not gonna start making up lies about John McCain.
The Obama team announced that it will respond with speed and ferocity to attacks leveled by the McCain camp.
I'll keep taxes low and cut them where I can. My opponent will raise your taxes.
Today, that meant correcting the record on taxes.
I just want to make this absolutely clear. My plan altogether is a net tax cut. My plan will cut taxes to a smaller share of the economy than they were under President Reagan. Under my plan, income taxes for typical American families will be the lowest that they've been in more than half a century. Everyone.
Part of the Obama strategy also includes a pair of new television ads, one of which accuses the Republican nominee of being out of touch.
1982, John McCain goes to Washington. Things have changed in the last 26 years, but McCain hasn't. He admits he still doesn't know how to use a computer, can't send an email, still doesn't understand the economy, and favors $200 billion in new tax cuts for corporations, but almost nothing for the middle class.
In fact, McCain has proposed repealing the alternative minimum tax, which mainly hits the middle class. In contrast, the Obama campaign has released another ad that has Obama speaking directly to the camera, saying his campaign offers real change.
We've heard a lot of talk about change this year. The question is, change to what? To me, change is a government that doesn't let banks and oil companies rip off the American people. Change is when we finally fix healthcare instead of just talking about it.
The more combative tone comes just a day after both nominees took a break from campaigning to honor the 7th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. They both took part in a public service forum at Columbia University last night, moderated by Time magazine editor Richard Stengel and me. I asked McCain about attacks by his running mate, Sarah Palin, repeatedly belittling Obama's experience as a community organizer.
You haven't taken that tone, so I guess my question is, are you saying to others in your campaign and your supporters that that's not the kind of language you want to hear?
Look, Governor Palin was responding to the criticism of her inexperience and her job as a mayor in a small town. That's what she was responding to. Of course I respect community organizers. Of course I respect people who serve their community. And Senator Obama's record there is outstanding.
Less significant than the work of a small-town mayor?
I think a small-town mayor has very great responsibilities. They have responsibility for the budget. They have hiring and firing of people. They have great responsibilities. They have to stand for election. I admire mayors. Listen, mayors have the toughest job, I think, in America. It's easy for me to go to Washington and frankly, be somewhat divorced from the day-to-day challenges people have.
The reverse question was later asked of Obama about questions deriding Palin's experience as a small-town mayor.
Did the Democrats in return belittle being a small-town mayor? Was she being unfair? Or was it hypocritical because Republicans actually say, hey, what people do in their private life is more important than public service?
Well, listen, we've had an awful lot of small-town mayors at the Democratic convention, I assure you. I meet them all the time. And the mayors have some of the toughest jobs in the country because that's where the rubber hits the road. You know, we yak in the Senate. They actually have to fill potholes and trim trees and make sure the garbage is taken away. So I was surprised by the several remarks around community organizing and belittling it.
Welcome to World News from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Minutes before last night's forum kicked off, ABC News aired an interview with Alaska Governor Sarah Palin, her first since being named the Republican vice presidential nominee 2 weeks ago. Palin struggled through some foreign policy questions.
Do you agree with the Bush doctrine?
In what respect, Charlie?
The Bush, well, what do you interpret it to be?
His worldview?
No, the Bush doctrine, enunciated September 2002, before the Iraq War.
I believe that what President Bush has attempted to do is rid this world of Islamic extremism, terrorists who are hell-bent on destroying our nation.
ABC's Charles Gibson pushed Palin to clarify her understanding of global warming.
Do you still believe that global warming is not man-made?
I believe that man's activities certainly can be contributing to the issue of global warming, climate change.
But it's a critical point as to whether or not this is man-made. He says it is. You have said in the past it's not.
The debate on that even really has evolved into, okay, here's where we are now. Scientists do show us that there are changes in climate. Things are getting warmer. Now, what do we do about it? And John McCain and I are going to be working on what we do about it.
Since joining the Republican ticket, Palin has enlivened the McCain campaign. Just today, a poll by the Associated Press had him edging out Obama by 4 points. Supporters have flocked to their events.
I told Congress, thanks, but no thanks for that bridge to nowhere, that if our state wanted to build a bridge, we would ourselves.
But that quip and others have been dismissed by her opponents in major newspapers as untrue. They reported she did in fact support the bridge plan before it fell apart. Palin, relatively unknown before she entered the race, has been the subject of media scrutiny and criticism from their Democratic opponents for the claim that they are the choice for change.
I guess his whole angle is, watch out, George Bush. Except for economic policy, healthcare policy, tax policy, education policy, foreign policy, and Karl Rove-style politics, we're really going to shake things up in Washington. That's not change. You can put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig.
McCain aides labeled those words from Obama offensive and disgraceful, claiming it was a crack about Palin, who has joked about lipstick and hockey moms. The McCain campaign released television ads this week defending Palin.
He was the world's biggest celebrity, but his star's fading. So they lashed out at Sarah Palin, dismissed her as good-looking.
The McCain campaign also stretched the truth in its new ad about education released on Sunday.
Obama's one accomplishment? Legislation to teach comprehensive sex education to kindergartners. Learning about sex before learning to read?
In point of fact, Obama supported a law to educate children on the dangers of sexual predators. Today, McCain was asked about his ads when he appeared on ABC's The View.
We know that those two ads are untrue. They're lies. And yet you, at the end of it, say, I approve these messages. Do you really approve them?
Actually, they're not lies. And have you seen some of the ads that are running against me?
By the way, you yourself
but
said the same thing about putting lipstick on a pig. You yourself used the same expression.
When I was talking about a health care plan.
Yeah, but he talked about change.
No,
he wasn't talking about Sarah Palin.
Okay. Senator Obama chooses his words very carefully, okay? He shouldn't have said it. He shouldn't have said it. He chooses his words very carefully. And this is a tough campaign.
With 53 days to go until the election, there are sure to be more attack ads. Already, advertising spending is more than double what it was in the last presidential election.